Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I am very pleased to welcome all of you at the workshop, SuperBIO workshop, as it is written on the slides. And this is the group, our first is a project which is supported by the Horizon 2020. And the aims of that project with the members is just to build a new value for European bioeconomy, new industrial value. So in which we are really very pleased that we have such type of workshop, and just we will hear what are the value, what to do between these sectors, how to do it over the borders, and how to make the bioeconomy really the action which we are talking about. Here in this region, which during the transition stage in the last 20 years, we just lost the industry in the city, and now we are just trying to build something new. This building, the which scientific part, is a part of that kind of activities. We wanted to move our industry, we want to move our activities, and based on the renewables, and based on the some. By the way, I wanted to looking at Nova, and I wanted to say that we are the fantastic source of CO2 in the region. So how to change it, what to do? I think that we can discuss. I'm very pleased that a lot of young people came here, because the target of the project is just to support the activities of the small companies and find for them, if they present a proper value chain, find for them 75% from the Europe to get the results of their action. I would like to present for only names, because the time for us is rather very short. So I especially welcome Dr. Stefan Reuters. He is from the fantastic hub of bioeconomy from Belgium, and it is a really very, how to say, amazing, but I don't want to say rich, but really just nice to see what they have and how they work. And the next person is Lucy. I will have a problem with the proper Pfalzgraf. Oh, great! So Pfalz is connected with plants. No, and graph is connected with graph. Yeah, okay. From York, she's a consultant in bioeconomy, and Tobias, in Polish Tobias, Kirchhoff from the BNCP consultant from Cologne, from Köln, from Germany, Michael Sarus from Nova, and there is no your name, yeah? Well, sorry, I will look. It's Gloria de la Vina, yeah? And Maria Garcia Alegre, yeah? And you. This Maria. I do not know. I do not have your name. Did I mention or? Sorry. Stefan, can you help me?
think it's this one, Iglesia.
Francisco Garcia Iglesias is properly. So welcome all of you, and now I will give floor to Stefan just to start the session. And I think that we will have a very good discussion regarding all the aspects, what to do to get to achieve the target, the aims of that project.
Okay, thank you very much, Stan. Yes, thank you. I work for Ghent Bioeconomy Valley and Biobase Europe pilot plant. Ghent Bioeconomy Valley is a cluster organization in Belgium, in the port of Ghent, where we established an industrial cluster of companies that are producing biofuels, so biodiesel, bioethanol, and also bioenergy, so bioelectricity from wood pellets. So it's really an industrial integrated site in the port of Ghent. Next to that, we are involved in innovation in the bio-based economy. So we try to promote the bio-based economy in our region. We try to set up new partnerships and try to promote innovation in companies, SMEs, large companies. Next to that, we, as Ghent Bioeconomy Valley, established Biobase Europe pilot plant, which is actually a pilot facility, a service provider, also a service provider in the project, to upscale industrial biotechnology processes. I will explain that later on when I explain the services in the project. So we have submitted this project, and we got this granted. It's called SuperBIO, Support and Partnership for the Development of Multiple Sustainable and Market-Ready Value Chains in the Bio-Based Economy. So that's a long title which explains it all, or maybe not, but at least we tried. So what is SuperBIO about? So this project is funded by Horizon 2020 and managed by the executive agency for SMEs. So it's really focusing on SMEs. And it wants to bring value chains in a bio-based economy closer to the market. So what we want to do is we want to build new value chains based on biomass. It should be new value chains, innovative value chains, and disruptive value chains, which means that it disrupts existing value chains in, for instance, chemistry or in materials or plastics sector or things like that. The good thing is, in a bio-based economy, almost everything is innovative, so lots of things are happening, but lots of things are not ready, market ready, are not ready, already included in the economic system. So that it's a good area to work in. That's also why we submitted this proposal. And also a lot of innovation is going on in Europe, because we're focusing on Europe, the whole of Europe, and of course especially also Poland with our Polish cluster, so the Lodz University. And these value chains, we want to build them cross-sectorial. Also this cross-sectorial in the bio-based economy, that's not too difficult to achieve, because most of these value chains are by nature cross-sectorial. It includes, for instance, the biomass providers, so agriculture, for instance, forestry, but it also includes chemistry when you're making chemicals, or it includes packaging sector when it's about plastics. So that's also not too difficult. And then we want to build cross-border value chains. It means we are building value chains with different companies, so really with companies, with SMEs, with industrial stakeholders. And we are building these cross-border, which means different countries should be involved in this cooperation within the value chain. So at least we are looking for at least 2 countries which are represented in such a value chain. That's also why we have our different cluster organizations in the project from different countries, from Spain, Poland, Belgium, and France. But we also have a wide network through our other service providers and other partners in the project, a wide network within the European Union. So that's, in short, what SuperBIO is about. So I will explain this project, or try to explain the project and the procedures in short. We will have time later on during the B2B sessions in the afternoon to ask more questions and specific questions to explain things maybe better. What does SuperBIO offer then for you as a company or as an industrial stakeholder, or can also be a research organization with a certain ID for innovation? But then we have, well, that's something we need to see. But what do we? We are networking and we are advising SMEs on innovation opportunities. So we are discussing with the stakeholders on, okay, what's the opportunity? What can we do for you? Where is there an option to innovate? So that's what we do. Then secondly, we do value chain building. So this means we are looking for partners in this value chain which are necessary to build this value chain and to make the value chain real and happening. So we are looking for partners mainly, and there, of course, the cross-border aspect is important. So we are looking for partners across the borders. So we have an application form that we developed that asks some specific questions, but it is a rather easy application, I would say, and low bureaucracy. So which is important when you apply, that you don't have much administration to do, but it's an easy process, it's an easy application form, very clear, although it takes some time to, of course, make a good application, so there's some preparation that needs to be done. So that's the value chain building, and we are starting with IDs which are coming from mainly SMEs or other industrial stakeholders. And then once these value chains have been built on this innovative ID, on an innovative concept, what we also offer for specifically SMEs in these value chains, so that's only for SMEs, are 10 different innovation services, which are provided by 6 service providers. I will go into detail later on. And these innovation services are funded for 75% by the project. Yeah. So I would say that's a lot. And 25% then needs to be co-funded by the SME that receives the service. So what do you get is a service with a certain value, and this is then covered for 75% of this value. The project kicked off recently, so in June 2016 we had our kickoff meeting, so running now for 4 months, I guess, and it runs until November 2018, which is still a long time, but in terms of this project is also really short. And the last deadline for application is in June 2018. So we kicked off. We have this workshop is our 3rd workshop already, so we're really kicking off really hard, let's say. It's our 3rd workshop, SuperBIO workshop of 8 workshops that we are doing, so there will be a 2nd one in Poland later next year, normally. And we are also getting our first applications, so I think we are now having already 5 applications that are in the project and that we are evaluating. Okay, we'll go into more detail maybe on the different aspects. So building value chains, what does this mean? So we start from ideas from industrial stakeholders, so innovative ideas, innovative SMEs or SMEs with innovative technologies or technologies from research organizations. That's where we start from. If you think I have a good idea for a new value chain, but also cross-border aspects, and you're interested in the services that we deliver, that's our first starting point. And for that, we then have our application form to fill out. Of course, we help you with filling out the application form. We have experience in filling these out, so we are helping you with that. Once you have your application form filled in and submitted to the project, it will be evaluated by the project, so by the experts, our 10 experts in the project, on certain criteria. We have eligibility and selection criteria in place. So it should be in scope of SuperBIO, which means it should be on bio-based economy, industrial biotechnology. There should be cross-border aspects and cross-sectorial aspects. It should be compliant with the ethics as in Horizon 2020. Most of them will, I guess. And then we have, let's say, selection criteria. So we evaluate whether it's innovative. So the concept that you have, whether it's innovative. Innovative means from a technology point of view, but also it can also be innovative from a business concept, for instance, or yeah, any type of innovativeness is possible. But it's just important that you explain that very well, why your idea is innovative. The business opportunity and exploitability is important, so there should be some business that can be generated, of course. And then social, environmental, and resource efficiency aspects. So, do you displace greenhouse gas emissions, for example? You're using a waste, for example, is something which can be very interesting. And the value chain consists of at least 3 stakeholders. What we say is we need at least someone who provides the feedstock in most cases. We need a conversion step to make something out of the biomass, and then we have an end product or a retail. We go to retail. So that's at least 3 stakeholders are needed in a value chain. Of course, there can be more stakeholders depending on where you're going and what type of products that you're producing. So that's the value chain. And as I said, you can submit an application form in order to get involved in the project. Then I will also want to explain you how it goes further once you have submitted your project, just to give you an idea of how it works. So we validate your idea, so we evaluate actually your application and see, okay, what can be improved, are all criteria, are they all met? So that's what we do in first. Next, we do a brainstorming meeting, which means that we are together with the applicant, so together with you that submitted the application, we are looking for, okay, what do you need? What kind of partners do you need if we are not already identified them? And what type of services do you need? So that's a second step. And then the next step is, well, we are building your value chain, we are finding the partners that you need. In order to have this value chain happening, and we bring together these partners in a value chain meeting. So there, it's a telephone conference mainly. We are able to talk with the different stakeholders and see the needs and the barriers and the gaps that are there in order to have this value chain happening. Because we can have all stakeholders together, but this doesn't mean that it's happening. There might be different gaps, there might be different barriers that are there. So it's important that we identify these in order to really target you in the right direction. Then we draft a support plan, which means that we will make a list of the services for which you would benefit. So we offer you the different services within the project that are needed to bring this closer to this value chain closer to the market. And then the last step is really innovation support, which means we are offering you services, and these are the 6 service providers, of which I think 3 are presenting this morning. So they are really giving you the services and hopefully giving you nice results out of that. Okay, so here you see an overview of the different services that we provide. So we have 10 services in total. I will not explain all services now, because we have our service providers here who can do this much better than I can. Important for you to know is that SMEs can receive these services if they are part of a value chain which is validated in the process that I showed before. With a total maximal value of 60,000 euro. So you can select services, you can select multiple services as well, up with a total value of 60,000 euro maximally. 75% is funded by the project, 25% needs to be co-funded by the applicant, so that's 1/4 of 60,000 is like 15,000 euro if you would go for the maximum value. So that's what you need to co-fund, and that's what you will be invoiced. Different services. I will focus on 3 services now, because the service providers are not here. It's innovation capture and patent filing. So normally we had this afternoon this session on IP. Unfortunately, Sarah, our speaker for this, got ill and was not able to travel. So which is really a pity, because it's I think really interesting, and it's also really important in at least a part of the bio-based economy, is this IP and patent filing. Subsidy and grant strategy. So that's Biotech Subsidy, a Belgian company who is providing you this service. So they are looking for the right strategy and the right funding schemes in order to have your innovation funded. So what we offer these services, but maybe you want to innovate in your company yourself, or you want to do something with your technology yourself, you want to develop your technology yourself. So this can be covered within this service, where we are looking for funding actually, and the right funding schemes for your innovation. So that's this service, and then the other service, in which I will go a little bit deeper, as I explained, Bio-based Europe pilot plant, is our scale-up facility, pilot facility that we established. So what we offer there is scale-up and proof of concept, which means that a certain technology we can scale up to an industrial level, to a larger level than the lab. So we are focusing on fermentation processes, enzymatic processes, but also biomass fractionation. And we also have extraction equipment and lots of downstream processing equipment, so which means filtration, centrifugation, drying, for example, and many others. So we can go up to a scale for fermentation up to 15,000 liters, so that's really a lot. I'm not sure whether that's covered with 60,000 euros, but that's a maximal scale that we do for fermentation. So just to give you an idea, it's really industrial ready scale. So we are also using state-of-the-art equipment for this, so equipment which is industrially used as well. So the purpose is scaling up your process from a lab and translate that to an industrial relevant process. But what we can also do is adapt existing processes with new equipment, for instance. And as I said, we are focusing here for the scale-up, so that's really the technological part of the project, focusing on the fermentation, on enzymatic processes, and on biomass fractionation. And then the other services, they will all be presented by our service providers in the next few presentations. Just to give you an overview of the partners which are involved in this project, you're probably all aware of Los University of Technology with the bioeconomy technology platform. We and Bioeconomy Valley, so a cluster organization in Flanders. We have CTA, so Corporación Tecnológica de Andalucía. So we have our two Spanish representatives here in front. And then we have Toulouse Wide Biotechnology. So these are, it's also an accelerator, but also a cluster organization in France, southern France, but also covering other parts of France. And then we have our service providers, which I already mentioned, BioBase Europe Pilot Plant, Biotech Subsidy, and Jill Jennings and Avery for the IP, so the intellectual property, and then Nova, NNFCC, and BCNP presenting later on. I'm waiting for the last slide, I guess. So the last slide I will already explain is how can you come in contact with the SuperBIO project. So there are different ways to do so. Visit our website. So you all have this, normally all have received this folder. It's also in brief explaining what we are doing. And also the website is mentioned at the Submit Your ID part. So Horizon 2020, superbio.eu. Well, here it is. There you can find much more information on the partners, on the services, on the concept. You can also register via the website. So just register to the project. You can stay up to date then. You make your company visible in the project, for instance, for value chain building. But also you can get in contact with your local SuperBIO representative, which would be for Polish companies, would be Beata and Eva. Then you can follow our partners on Twitter and on LinkedIn. You can contact your local SuperBIO representative directly. So all email addresses are available on the website. And I'm the coordinator of the project. You'll also find my details on the website. So that's it. Thank you very much for listening. I hope it was clear, but we'll get more clear during the day, I guess. So thank you very much.
So thank you, Stefan, for this interesting introduction in the work. Later on, I will present the people to contact them in Poland, just to proceed all this aspect of this project. And now I will ask Lucia to give another speech, please. Discussion will be after all the speeches before noon.
Hello. Hi. Sorry. Thank you. Hi. Hello. So, thank you for the kind introduction. I'm Lucie Pfalzgraf. Today I represent the NNFCC, for whom I'm started working on the SuperBIO project this summer. So I'm going to do a brief introduction about this bioeconomy consultancy firm, and then I will go through the services the NNFCC will be delivering on as part of the SuperBIO project, and give you examples with the aim of doing something a bit concrete as to what you could expect getting from the SuperBIO project. So a bit about the NNFCC. We're a specialist bioeconomy consultancy based in York in the UK. We've been working in that area for 13 years. Our CEO, Jeremy Tonkinson, was previously working for both the Department for Transport and FERA in the UK, so two big governmental organizations. The type of client cover the whole bioeconomy supply chain, really. We work with feedstock suppliers, technology and project developers, bio-based products and bioenergy manufacturers, investors, and also we do a lot of work on with policymakers, both in the UK and in the EU, with the EU institutions. So here's an example of some of our clients. AkzoNobel, Vivergo Fuels, Nature Works, obviously a lot of work on bioplastics, but also bioenergy with Eggborough Power Plant, and also Drax, which is one of the biggest power plants in Europe. It's located near York. Other clients include Novamont and Plurac. So very, very quickly, because Stefan's covered this extensively during the past 15 minutes, SuperBIO, the aim is to build cross-sector and cross-border value chains, supporting SMEs primarily, that are part of value chains, including other bigger organizations or corporations. It's an H2020 project, available in all EU countries, so it's not geographically limited within the EU. An SME can benefit from maximum 60,000 euros. That needs to be co-funded to a rate of up to 25%. So, in terms of innovation support services available through the SuperBIO project, I've listed the 10 here, so scale-up and proof of concept, subsidy grant writing, access to investors, feedstock analysis, LCA, and IP and patent filing. But the 40 NNFCC will be concentrating together in conjunction with other partners, are techno-economic analysis, sustainability and regulation overview, market research, and business planning. So I'll now go through each one of the 4 and give you a bit of background on projects we've been working on in that area. So, techno-economic analysis. Here, part of the services are focused on, for example, technology landscaping, including technology development and mapping technology developers and emerging technologies, including also cost analysis and the costings of a given opportunity and verified sensibility to different feedstocks or a change in regulation, for example. We also work on economic feasibility and modeling and life cycle costing. So 2 pieces of work in that area. We've done a feasibility study on the production of PLA for HCCA, which is big in the UK with regards to agricultural feedstocks. They wanted to know they wanted to cost different processes of C5 and C6 sugars and their combined or not fermentation to obtain PLA. And then we also looked at the identification and strategic development of specialty crops in Jersey, which is a small island off the UK. They wanted to have a look at different specialty crops, either bioenergy, algae, specialty food crops, and wanted to see whether, in terms of market research, value retainment on the island, and their robustness to climate conditions, which would be the best choice for Jersey to replace some of their potato crops. Then we work on sustainability assessment and regulatory compliance. A lot of the work on there is based on bio-based product value chain sustainability according to the roundtable on sustainable biomaterials, looking at criteria such as emissions to air, water, and soil, upholding of human labor law, human and labor law, GHG emissions. But also, we do a lot of work on developing greenhouse gas emissions calculators for corporations who are looking at complying with the European Renewable Energy Directive. So we've developed in the past, and this is ongoing work, both with the UK government and the Commission, on a greenhouse gas calculator to help biomethane producers, for example, claiming the renewable heat incentive to determine greenhouse gas emissions for their supply chain following the Renewable Energy Directive. So the NFCC is used to work with both national governments and the UK to develop, adhere to, and comply with robust legislation with both bioenergy producers, but also technology developers and end users to understand their implications for their value chain. In terms of market research, so this includes vast array of methods such as surveys and interview for primary data gathering, availability capacities, trends for bio-based components, growth projections, competition analysis, which is quite important when trying to work out the competition intensity with alternative bio-based products or the competing petrochemicals, and product identity evaluation, such as the USP of a bio-based product or whether a green premium could be applied to it. Now, so this is quite important because in different regions in the EU, the desirability for bio-based products varies according to the customer and their location and the segment of the market they're trying to focus on. In terms of case studies for that one, well, the NNFCC works for RAP every year to compile the organics recycling industry report, looking at the outputs and inputs of the AD and composting sector for Wales, Scotland, and the UK. They look especially at the use of different feedstocks and the uptake on alternative feedstocks such as waste, and monitor closely the impact of legislation on that sector. And then another one is the Syrian market review, which was done for a Danish spin-out, and for this they were able to demonstrate that if serine, which is an amino acid, could be produced to $1 or $2 a kilo for a cost of $1 or $2 a kilo, it could potentially reach a much bigger market than it is now, around 100,000 tons a year for the development of commodity chemicals. Then finally, another type of services the NNFCC is involved in is business planning and business plan reviewing. In this case, well, the NFCC will take the results of an LCA, techno-economic assessment, and a market research, bring it together, and try to illustrate the steps needed to achieve a successful launch of a bio-based product, a bioenergy source, in order to bring a compelling story to investors, targeted customers, for example. So interestingly, the NFCC has also started working on other EU projects, the AgroCycle one, which is about reviewing existing business plans to come up with new ones on the valorization of agricultural residues and wastes. This includes agricultural byproducts too. So if this is something that's interested, I can put you in touch with my colleague Caitlin Burns. But another more relevant project is the provision of the Vale Center Market Assessment Service. So Vale, I don't know if you've heard, is a cluster that is looking to be a cluster in the UK, in York. They would like to bring together the bio-based industry for the Northeast England. And what we've done for them is to verify their target, their pricing, and assess the competition in terms of bio pilot plants in the UK. So so this is me. I'm going to be here also for the bioeconomy conference over Thursday and Friday. So if you have any questions by then, please don't hesitate to come and talk to me. My name is Lucy Pfalzgraf, and you can contact me on the following email address. And as I said, I'm open to questions afterwards during the discussion session. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucy, for this presentation. I do hope that there will be somebody who wants to contact her regarding this aspect they are giving the service. Our next speaker is Tobias. So please, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, my name is Tobias Chaos. I'm a senior consultant from BCMP Consultants, and I'm really glad to introduce BCMP a little bit to you and give you an overview which services we are providing in this SuperBIO project. I would start with some facts about BCMP so you get to know us a little bit better. We are a specialty consultancy firm since 2002, and we started in the 4 industrial sectors you can see here: BCMP, biotech, chemistry, non-tech, pharma. So our name is still the program. Until today, we are still specialized in these 4 fields, but not limited to that. We are working with multidisciplinary consultants, which means that all of our consultants have a science background, but also an economic background. So we can work with you to the market and not just the technology part. We have offices in Frankfurt and Cologne. I'm responsible for the Cologne office, and we have also presences in Berlin and Munich. And what we have built up into all these in all these years are a huge network to a lot of organizations, but also to experts, which we always uses to work in the projects. BCMP stands in, or is divided in 3 divisions. The important here for SuperBIO is the BCMP strategy, where we analyze business and technology, but as well as strengthen the business model, always in order to get either you into the right market, or if you already know your right market, to get you in the market right. These are our portfolio services in BCMP strategy, and the red market are the services we are providing in SuperBIO. This is on the one side the market research, which could be market data in general, but also in special about competitors. And on the other side, it's business modeling, which means business models, developing business models, writing business plans, or connecting with investors. And in the next slides, I will give you some more details about these services. Let's start with the market data. You see on the left side what could be a challenge, why you could need market data, market research. Of course, always if you want to go into a new market or new sub-markets, and when you lack of information about these markets or about the requirements the potential customers needs, then it is really difficult to decide for the right market. And I will not go through our solution approach, but what is the value you can get from this research? At first, it's a base to decide to prioritize in which sub-market you should go first, and on the other side, to base to the base to calculate your first business cases, and on the other side, we can give you some more insights about the requirements a customer, for example, needs for a product or for technology. On the right bottom, you can see some references. Unfortunately, we are allowed to say the names, but not the contents of the project, so I will not to go into detail in this part. Let's go further with business modeling, which is sometimes a little bit more difficult to understand than market research. When you have a new product, a new technology, or you have problems with marketing your product or technology, you should thought about your business model. Yeah? And a new product or new technology is always that good as the business model is. And if you have no clue about the business model, or you are not sure if it's profitable or not, or is it lean enough, efficient enough, then we can go through a workshop with you. We are trained in the method of the business model canvas, and what you get is at the end a lean and promising profitable business model for your product or for your new technology. And as the process is moderated and we are, as I said, trained, it's always an efficient process. And what is not always, but in most cases good, is an external view from the moderator to get new perspectives on the business model. When the business model is not enough, because you need a whole business plan, we also do that. When do you need a new business plan? This could be if you need financing for your product, for your technology. This could be if you're on your side have a lag to do that because you have not the experience to write a business plan, or you have not the time to write the business plan. Then we can help in this case from writing the whole business case, from doing the financials, over additional expert interviews to have more market data. We can do all of this, and what you get is really a complete business plan, a convincing document which you can give an investor or a cooperation partner, that he better understand your business and what you want to do with this investor and with this cooperation partner. In this case, I think I'm allowed to talk about the references because this is from our last EU project. So with respect, one company and one group from a university, and I think Stefan is well known them as they are both from Ghent, and with them we worked over a longer period to sharpen this business plan, and I think in the case of MBO a really good success as they have found a really good cooperation partner. The last project type I want to introduce is the part of investors. If you have the business plan, if you are sure the business plan is in a good condition and you now need an investor, but you do not know a lot of investors, or you want to have a third party between you and the investors, then we are able to do that, of course. Because we have a huge network of investors, not only in our home country in Germany, but also in Europe, and as well as some contacts into the US. And what you get is the access to these unknown investors. We can also work with you on the documents to convince the investors in a better way. And what is additional point is when we are going to the investors, we are always getting a really honest feedback from the investors because they are not hurting us. So we can give that to you so you can sharpen your business plan or your business model, or what the need is. Yeah, these are the services, and what are our values? What will we give into these projects. There are 3 of our values. The first one is the access to our network, so we really use them to get in a fast way to information about the market, about evaluation of the business model. The second one is, as I already said, we are multidisciplinary, but we also interdisciplinary. This is, I think, it's an artificial word from my CEO. So if it's not in the dictionary, no problem. But we are always working from different perspectives, from chemistry, from biotechnology, and as I said, really important from the economical side. And we will use that to speed up the project, as well as we are a specialty company, so we are not that many people. We are 10 consultants, and we have also very lean processes, so we can provide really fast service. These are some of our customers. As you can see, we are not working with one kind of customers. We are really working with almost every kind of customers you can imagine. It's a non-profits, it's startups, it's SME and international concerns. So we really can fit our services for all of these type of customers. Some of our customers with statements about us, I think it's too small to read it, but I think in the end the presentations will be downloadable. I think so. Or we can speak about that in the B2B meeting. So I just go around. These are our 2 offices with Holger Banks, our CEO and the office manager for Frankfurt, and me in Cologne. Some facts about me, as I said, education, not always science. It's science and economics. In my case, it's chemistry. I'm with BCMP since 2010 and have experience since that in different projects, as it was business modeling, market research, and some scouting projects. And here are my contact data. So if you want to get in contact with me and have not the opportunity in the next hours, here are the data. And BCMP is not only standing for biotech, chemistry, nanotech, pharma, but also for best chances for new products, and I hope this will be your products. Thanks.
Thank you, Tobias, very much for this presentation of your company activities. I think that we save time, so it's going quite well. But anyway, I will ask the next speaker just now, and then we will have a longer time for discussion before the coffee. So, Saros, please, the floor is yours, and now we will know the known your value, find your market. It's a very good marketing.
Thank you for the kind introduction. That sounds very useful. We have in the project 4 kinds of services: feedstock, techno-economic evaluations, market research, and life cycle assessment. And I would like to show first some slides on our company, and then why you perhaps need these 4 services for your business. Nova Company is Nova Institute is a private independent research institute. We are located in a chemical park around Cologne. So this is our place, and you'll see the link from agriculture, forestry to the chemical industry. We work in the field of bio-based and CO2-based economy. CO2-based means to utilize CO2. That's also in the framework of the project. And we have 4 departments: sustainability, economy and policy, technology and markets, and communication. And we try to make applied research for your needs. So what you need, we try to research. Founded in '94, 25 employees. And we're working in different associations and committees. And we have also a wide range of customers from chemical industry, plastic industry, automotive industry, and so on. I will not go in detail here. you will receive later the slides. I show you just 3 slides with special services, which could be anyway interesting for you. This is a newsletter, a news system coming every day with about 5 to 10 news. We have meanwhile 18,000 reports in the system. Everything is free. This is the web address here. And we have 3,000 readers daily. So if you're looking for some partners or looking for some companies working in algae or special biotech fields, you can easily find here a lot of information about potential partners. And yeah, just try it, bio-based news. Then we're also organizing different conferences, as you see here, on CO2, on bio-based materials, on natural fibers, on biocomposites, and also some exhibitions that might be very helpful to find your partners. At most of the events, we will also have a booth for the project where you can find additional information and contact to the team. And last not least, this is the International Directory for Bio-Based Businesses. Here we have at the moment 80 companies, and it could be interesting for every company in the room here, because the register is free. You can show what your company is doing in the field of bio-based economy or biotech. Easily here you have 2 pages, and the nice thing is everything is, has an index or is tagged, so you can very easily find your partner. If you're looking for someone in packaging, someone in automotive, you just click here and then you see here the selection of companies. And it's really impressive that this completely free system here. We have 30,000 downloads so far this year on company profiles. So 30,000 company profiles was downloaded for potential partners. And I think this is also could be very useful for you, especially if you have new things to offer. And all the things I showed you, you can find here. And the next I will show you also, this page is the content page of the Nova Institute. You find here hundreds of reports on markets, on economy, on sustainability. And what I show in the next slides, you can also find on this page here with a very simple address here. So we reserved this address about 15 years ago when nobody thought about bio-based. And so we are lucky to have this wonderful address. Yeah, what we're offering is a project in detail. We have mainly 6 topics where we're working on, and 4 are offered in this project here. We're working on raw material supply, on feedstock, on economics, on market research, on environmental evaluations. These 4 are covered by the project SuperBIO. And then we also work on dissemination, marketing support, and on political framework. This is not part of SuperBIO, but good anyway, interesting. We worked here, for example, for Brussels, for Berlin, for Canada, for Malaysia, for Thailand, to help them to shape their bio-based economy. Now, so the first thing, raw material supply, feedstock analysis, availability, price, and sustainability. If you start a bio-based enterprise, of course, feedstock is a very important question, and we can give you information on almost everything in the context of feedstock. I give you a few examples from other projects that you got an impression what we can offer. Here you see the whole value chain of bio-based economy. Here you see the different feedstocks. It could be food crops like sugar, starch, lignin cellulose, oil and fats, proteins, or other complex molecules, or also waste. But it can also be CO2 directly. So what the crops are doing, they're utilizing CO2. And today we have also with biotechnology and other processes, technologies, we can directly utilize the CO2. Here we have a lot of different processes. And here are the products, like food and feed, all kind of bio-based products we're mainly talking about, but also energy and fuels. When you look for the transformation process here, you have physical, mechanical, chemical, thermochemical, and biotechnology. What do you think is the share of biotechnology in the whole biomass transformation? Any idea? Is this 50%, 80%, 10%? Not the first row, they know it. What do you think? Who thinks it's more than 50%? Okay. And who thinks it's more than 10%? Okay, so almost everybody. I think it's more about 5% today. So it's the smallest share of the transformation processes, but the fastest growing, with a very interesting future. If you look here, for some pulping is also here, also to transform the wood to pulp and paper. This, of course, is not biotech in the very huge sector. So indeed, today, biotech is the smallest of the others, but I think in a few years it will be 10, 20%, so it has a very promising future. And what you also often see in your factories is that you have combination between the different process types. Yeah, here's an example for the BioCore biorefinery project we did from 10 to 14. There was a question for liquid cellulosic biorefinery, what is the best feedstock? And so we analyzed first the content. You see here from beech, spruce, poplar, miscanthus, switchgrass, the different components in the feedstock. Yeah? So cellulosics, hemocellulosics, lignin, and so on. So they are very different. And depending on your process you are aiming, it's very important to choose the right liquid cellulosic feedstock, for example, here. But the other question is, of course, the price level. And here we have analyzed from rice straw from India until wood pellets from Germany, a whole range of different materials. And we have different methodologies to find the realistic price. Of course, we have the market price, but we have also calculations on the minimum price just derived from the value of nutrition in the material. Because if you extract the wheat straw from the field, for example, you're also getting nitrogen, phosphor, and kali from the fields, and you have to put another fertilizer on the field. And the fertilizer value is, for example, the blue one here. This is the calculated minimum value. These are market values. And then also interesting, procurement costs, including transportation and storage. This is then here the price level. Then you see some of the very cheap raw materials like straw getting a much higher price if you also include storage and transportation. So we can give you a complete overview on different options for your feedstock if you need this in your company. Then another question are certification systems, how sustainable a certain feedstock is. And so we know very well the different certification systems. Also just a very quick look here. We have the systems working for all kind of biomass, is RSB, ICC, and NEN. There was a review from WWF where we're working close together with, and this was the winning certification systems. So if you have customers which are interested in a certified feedstock, we can help you to find the right label for your certification. These are general labels where you can prove for all kinds of feedstocks. These are special labels for sugar or for palm oil, for example. And these are the well-known certification systems for woody systems. But to do this in a very efficient way, we can support you in the project SuperBIO. Yeah, that was the first quick look on the feedstock side. Now we come into the techno-economic evaluations. Process economics and target costing analysis. Target costing means from the market research, this is the next point, we know very well your target price. So we know what are the prices of competing other products. And then we can give you a range where your product has to fit in. Process economics, so we know the feedstock prices, we know the process, and we know the target pricing. Then we can see whether your factory or your process fitting economics will fit. If you have all the information available about your investment, what are the costs for utilities, for energy, what are the investment costs, then it's easy to make a standard economic calculation. But in many cases, the information is very limited. You have only a subset of information which is not enough to make a standard economic analysis. And for this case, we have developed a special tool. I cannot explain in detail because of time limitations, but this is one of our NOVA papers you can download on the page I showed you. And this is the case if you have only rough information about your process, but your investor asks you what is the investment volume, what are the costs of the products. We found a way that you can calculate it indirectly. And I will also show you a few things about this. So what our model basically is doing is make an estimation of the capital expenditures and estimation of the operating expenditures. And for the CAPEX, the CAPEX has two parts, the fixed capital investment and the working capital investment. And for the fixed capital investment, there is a nice model from Shell. This is developed also for the petrochemical industry, where you can have a correlation between the fixed capital investment of a particular plant and the sum of the rated power of all equipment parts. And this is a nice curve, and we have also developed it further and checked it for different bio-based processes, and it fits not too bad. So if you have just for your process the rated power, the sum of rated power of all your equipment, you have a first estimation of your capital costs. And this is sometimes the only way to know whether your investment is 50 million or 5 million or 500 million. And this is also important for first step. And for the OPEX, we have also different models. I will not go in detail here. But finally, we developed a model where you can get your OPEX with this simple formula. And you only need to know the cost of raw materials and cost of utilities, cost of operating labor, and then you can calculate the whole OPEX with this model. And so that means, especially if you need information for an investor and you have limited information about your whole system, we can help you to give a first estimation of the investment costs. Yeah, market research. As I said already, to make the techno-economic evaluation, you need target prices. The target pricing is coming from market research. And what we're doing here is we work on volumes and trends, competition analysis, and feasibility and potential studies. They are very specific for the different customers, so I cannot give you concrete examples, but we have certain fields where we make big market studies. This is the field of bio-based building blocks and polymers in the world. We're updating this study every year. The next study will come in January 2017, and we follow up about 120 producing companies in the world on building blocks and polymers. Our data are meanwhile also the data for European Bioplastic Association. We have a contract that we give them every year, the updates. So if you're doing anything in the field of bio-based building blocks or polymers, we have a lot of data, and we also have created a worldwide expert team from Asia, US, and Europe, where we can have access to almost the latest information. And here you'll see an example of this table showing for different bio-based polymers all the details on production capacities, on companies producing those polymers, the growth rate per year, and so we have very detailed information on the market. And also we have now a new study on the biodegradable and compostable plastic market in Europe, and also on biocomposites. So if you're working on this field, biocomposites or biodegradable plastics, we have also very deep market information. Here, for example, on the biodegradable plastic, is interesting that there's only 100,000 tons in total in Europe, and it's mainly Italy and now coming France where these products are used. And if some companies here want to introduce in this market new materials, it's very useful to have this in-depth information via SuperBIO project. The same is with biocomposite materials, wood, plastic, and natural fibers. I know that especially in Poland there are many activities in this field, and we see on the one hand the material is very successful in construction, in decking material, but also in automotive. We have meanwhile about 150,000 tons of these new materials in the automotive production, and I know that many Polish companies are interested to join this market, and also here we can give you very detailed information. This was just some examples. We have also customers with very special questions, but our expert team tried to cover all your needs. And the last point, life cycle assessment, life cycle inventories and suited. Yeah, everybody knows a little bit what is a life cycle assessment, where the question is, yeah, what is your benefit from it? In the life cycle assessment, you're looking through the whole process from the feedstock until production, use phase, and also end of life. You're collecting all inputs going in the system in minerals, in biomass, in electricity, in whatever. And you look to all outputs. Outputs could be especially emissions, CO2 emissions or other emissions. And then you can calculate the full footprint of your product or process. In detail, you have first a part goal and scope and definition, where you define for your process, your company, what is the goal of the life cycle assessment. Then they have the inventory analysis, where you're collecting all the input and especially input data. And then you have an impact assessment, where you look to parameters like greenhouse gas emissions and others to see the impact on your whole process. So what is the idea why you should do that? There are mainly two reasons to do that. The first reason is to improve your process. This is a slide, we call this suited sustainability integrated technology development. So you're using the life cycle assessment data to improve your technology. I'll give you one example from one project. I'm not allowed to tell the name of the project because you know later why. This was an algae project, and they were very proud about their algae system. And we make an LCA on this algae, and we found out that 95% of the energy consumption was in one processing step, 95%. And this was the pumping of the algae to the pipeline. Yeah? And this was a nightmare. This process could never work. And we found this out very quick. And then in the process, they changed completely the design of the process. But universities sometimes don't know. So they develop a nice process. They're proud of it. Everything works fine. But they don't look to those data. And if our experts look at the process, they know immediately in which part of your process you're using how much energy and how much CO2 emissions. And then they could develop a complete new process. And this is what you see here. You should start also on a very low TLL level with the life cycle assessment analysis. You do it here on this level, also economics. Then you learn, develop, and assess. And then you go on the next level. And so step by step, you're optimizing your whole process. And at the end, you have a system which works from the economics fine, and it works very fine on the environmental impact data. And normally for such a process you would pay 50,000 euro, 50,000 euro. And in SuperBIO you pay 25% of it only. Yeah? So this is really a wonderful thing. We have customers that say they could believe it. An LCA normally costs 20 to 50,000. Now you pay for a simple LCA 5,000 euro. This is like discounter, yeah? But you still get the highest quality. And so I think this is a very interesting point in this project. And so if you need something like that, this is a unique opportunity. The other reason to do that is to compare you with other products. And this is a study we made in a European project to compare different natural fibers. And this is also, you can also download this complete study. And here's the result. So they compared hemp fibers, flax fibers, jute and kena fibers. And you not only see the total here, so you see it's not so different, the different fibers. Yeah? So hemp could also be from Poland here, or flax, so it's good root line with jute and kena. But the interesting thing is here, the automotive industry said before, BMW, that hemp and flax from Europe has 10 times higher environmental impact than jute and kena from Asia, and they want to replace jute and flax and hemp by jute and kena. And then we made this study, and now they stopped it. So they said, oh, it's the same, so we have not replaced it. And what you see here, this is the agriculture part here. Jute and kena have lower impact in the agriculture part because of handwork. They have no machines there. But then you're losing this benefit in the transport. So this yellow is the transport from Asia to Europe. And so you see in total, if you have a production in Germany, there is no difference for the different fibers. And so it could sometimes be for your customers very important to compare different product alternatives to look to their environmental impacts. So this was very important, and since we published this study It's really true. BMW and Daimler and Mercedes start again using more flax than hemp. And so this has a direct impact on the decision of the automotive industry. And this is the same for your customers. If you have customers in detergents, surfactants, or bio-based plastics, and you can show your customers a nice LCA comparing different alternatives, that could be the point where they say, yeah, we're taking your product. And this is all, again, only you pay 25% only to get this information. And so I think this is a very interesting offer, and I hope many of you will join the project. Thank you for your attention.